Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Gabe.
It's Caleb.
And you are listening/watching to the 51st episode of the Positive Outlook podcast. Caleb, where are we picking up today?
Today we are finishing our series on 33 questions to promote positivity, and I couldn't be happier. These questions are so much fun.
Yeah, they really are. I love them because it feels like you guys can interact with it a lot better than you could interact with our other episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fun for us.
Right. And the great part, too, is like if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, we don't know, but we just know that at least some of you are actually going to be trying to answer these questions.
Yeah.
And what it kind of reminds me of is if you guys read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill at the end of the book, there's just like, it's like pages of questions.
Yeah.
And they're questions you should answer every single year.
Yeah.
Because they're just about like your current being, essentially.
Yeah.
And so they're great to just ask yourself once in a while. So don't just do this once. Do this once in a while just to get a good idea of where you're at in life, where you want to be, maybe some weaknesses and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And before we jump in, if you're on YouTube, smash that like and subscribe. Feel free to follow if you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. But other than that, I think we're ready.
Let's do it. Sweet. Alrighty. So picking off where we are picking up from, where we resumed in the last episode, we are going into the first question. Very, very good one. What inspires you to become a better person?
Can this be more than one thing?
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, number one is my mother.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, she will always be number one, whether she knows it or not. Whether I don't really tell her that, honestly. I think I've told our viewers and listeners more than her.
Yeah.
But she definitely knows. And she's a big supporter of the podcast. So shout out my mom. But yeah, so my mom, obviously, in terms of the podcast and a lot of areas of life, my friends, and obviously my family. So I'll just cut it off at friends and family because those are like my top two.
Yeah.
Obviously, personally, I have a little bit of religious reasons too.
Yep.
But I don't want to go too into depth on that. Don't want to get too like divisive or anything. So we'll stop it right there. But what about you? For
me, it's these guys. Everybody on the other side of the screen. So that's like you were saying, how your family watches it. You know, my family watches it. My friends watch it. People I don't even know watch it. It's everyone out there. It inspires me to become a better person.
Definitely.
So I can inspire you guys to become better people. You know what I mean? So it really does come full circle.
Yep.
And definitely that's what inspires me to become a better person.
And way to come up with the only better answer.
Oh, stop. No. Alrighty. Yeah. Moving into the next question. Who can you turn to when you need advice or support, and how will that person help you?
I can't think of anyone. That's
Dang.
sarcasm. I'm sorry. It's you. I could always talk to you about literally anything.
Appreciate that.
I don't have to worry about you thinking I'm crazy or anything. So,
right, yeah.
That, and actually, I'm not going to lie. Shout out to my man, Ty. I've been able to talk to him about a lot. He's just great at listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are two people right there that I can talk about literally anything.
Yeah.
And I don't feel any sort of like instant judgment, because there's people that if you talk to them, even if they don't mean to, sometimes it even just feels like they're judging, and it's kind of
you're like,
hard
I shouldn't have told them anything.
Right.
Yeah. No, I understand that. Mine is the same. Family, so like my parents, obviously. And then we always talk a lot about this kind of stuff.
Definitely.
All basically like all of my friends, I can turn to them and find something out. And then also our group we have. That one's nice because it's very diverse. There's some older people in there, and there's some like middle-aged, and then there's us. So it's really cool. You're able to get all the perspectives.
Yep.
And basically everybody else in that group beside us have experienced everything in life. Right. So they can kind of support us.
Such different variety of backgrounds.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely awesome. Alrighty. Does your home feel like a positive environment to you? Why or why not?
Yeah, I would say so. Because I know they care about me, and I say this, I'm starting to feel like a broken record over this now. But like no matter how many times I mess up, I'm always welcome home. Yeah. And that, knowing that I'm so grateful because so many people don't have that. Yeah. And so even though like I am out on my own trying to make it on my own, and I really try not to use home, the fact that it's there, I can't put into words how grateful I am. Yeah. It's not always fun, but that's just because, I have siblings. Yeah. And so it's always up and down there. But Seriously, I'm so grateful for home.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. Home is a positive environment, simply because my family's very loving.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough because there's that line of what do you decide is home?
Right.
Because
True.
I live on my own right now.
Yep.
And so I still consider this a positive environment because my girlfriend's coming over, all my friends are coming over, and then when I go back to, if I go to visit my parents' house, it's still a home to me.
Yep.
So yeah, always a positive experience. I never have a bad time.
Sweet.
What is one negative thing you could easily eliminate from your life?
I know it says easily, but
Yep.
you gotta think about it.
Yeah.
Because it's not an easy question, because there's some things that aren't easily, but there are things that are easily. So, do you have one on the top of your head?
Junk food.
Junk food?
That one is simply the easiest I could think of.
It definitely is.
Because it is such like regardless of how you view it. So I beat myself up when I eat junk food.
Yeah.
Like today we got Taco Bell before recording because we were kind of in a rush.
Right.
And like I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I just we could have made something, or something along those lines where it takes more of a toll than the physical.
Right.
And it might sound like I'm being dramatic about that, but it's like the mental side of it of like I'm trying to become more fit, eat better food. So I got to watch what I'm putting in my body. So every time I do eat, it's like, oh, come on.
Definitely. I think one for me is technically it's a lack of something, but it's something I could eliminate easily. Lack of budgeting. I'm pretty conservative with money in general, and I'm not very materialistic. I don't really care to go buy a bunch of new stuff right away. But at the same time, I don't necessarily manage my money as sharply as I should.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'd be in a totally different spot right now if I had.
Yeah.
But it would definitely be different.
Yeah.
And it's something that's really not that hard. So actually, I'm going to start working on that.
Yeah. Just take some discipline.
Yeah.
So also, this is a great one for the comment section. Please let us know what you would eliminate easily if you could. And then explain to us why you haven't yet.
And sometimes I was actually just thinking of this one. This one wasn't easy, but it became easy. Cutting people off that just bring me down.
Yeah.
That used to be really difficult for me. So if you guys are struggling with that, I totally get it. But nowadays it's like I'm quick to just kind of be like, okay, have fun. I hope the best for you. Bye.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Going to the next one. One nice thing if you could go out and do to a stranger or for a stranger right now. That sounded like aggressive. If you could do one nice thing to a stranger. No, if you could do one nice thing for a stranger right now, what would you do?
I would probably, I do this to like every stranger I see. I compliment them and hold the door. Because holding the door is so simple and no one thinks about it. But at the same time, it's like, oh no, I sit there and if I don't hold the door for them, I'm like, I should have held the door. I'm such an a-hole.
Yeah. For me, high fives.
High five.
Those are fun.
Yeah.
When someone just walks up and they give you a random high five for no reason, you're like, sweet. He chose me. Yeah, it's just something like that. And so I love to give out high fives.
Yeah, that reminds me, a little side note real quick. Practical Jokers, the one where Murr and Joe are having a high five contest, a strip high five.
Yeah.
You know that one?
Yep, I do.
That one's pretty.
Murr's just standing there in his underwear like, why can't I get a high five?
People just are walking around them because they're half naked or naked and they can't get a high five. Yeah.
Right. That's funny. We'll have to do that one.
Oh, shoot. I forgot about Joe.
Yeah. Rip.
If you guys, this is for optimism though, but we love Joe.
If you guys watching Practical Jokers, we're all feeling the same pain because Joe Gatto is gone.
It's been how long, and it still feels like brand new too.
Yeah,
it's been a couple months.
I feel like I've been hiding behind the arm this whole episode. I hope you guys can see me now.
There you go.
All right, going into the next question. Write about a time when you used positive thinking to reframe a negative situation. So we obviously don't write about it. Right. Tell each other about it. Go ahead.
Let's see. I don't want this to be like dragged out, but I'm thinking of like a really good one. Because there's been a few recently. I guess we'll go with a more basic one. Just lack of money. It's so stressful. It builds up. But if you look at it, first of all, you're testing how disciplined you can be. Yeah. You really are, because if you are just too impulsive or too like off the rails. You're going to go buy something. Sometimes it's literally an addiction. But it also like makes you take a new perspective on life. It's like if I think right now, I'm pretty poor. I'm a college kid. If this was all life is, would I still be happy? And the answer is yes. And so that's a way to reframe it. It's to like kind of keep you in check that yes, as I'm chasing more money down the road, it's not the root of happiness.
Right.
And so it's kind of reframing being poor to like being able to appreciate the small things a little more.
I'm yawning so much and I have no clue why.
Was it that boring?
No, this whole episode I've been yawning. I don't know what it is. But yeah, that's a really good perspective to have on that.
What about you?
Because it only goes up. You know what I mean? Your situation that you're in.
Exactly.
I like to think about after I graduated high school. And so this was prior to me even understanding all the cool things that we can do with a positive outlook.
Yeah.
But after high school, so I was in the early college program.
Okay.
Finishing up my associate's degree, and I had absolutely no clue what I wanted to do. But at this point, I was watching a lot of Gary Vee, and one thing he always preached was time. You know, we all, how young we are, we have a bunch of time ahead of us to really think about what we want to do. Right. And I think
now you got me young.
I was gonna say, yeah, is that contagious?
I was trying to fight it.
I know. But it made me really appreciate me being young and having that positive thinking of remembering that I am still in my youth. You know, regardless of how badly I feel like I need to have everything figured out tomorrow, I know I don't need to for the next 10 years maybe.
Right.
So yeah, that's fine.
I love how we watched that video of you. I think you were in high school, senior year, and you were talking about like your plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your plan was to, what was it, to graduate and get like a good job or something like that.
It was like physical therapy, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
And how much did that happen?
Well, actually, I did a lot of job shadowing for the nurse, or not nursing field, but the medical field. And then it stopped there.
And how happy are you that it stopped there?
I think I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
I would probably, if I went for physical therapy, you need a master's degree now.
Wow.
So I would still be in college for quite a bit longer.
Yeah. Seriously, you'd still be in college right now.
Yeah. So I'm happy.
Awesome.
I'm very happy. And in that instance, all I needed was that perspective of going in and feeling things out. So if you're worried that you don't have everything figured out yet today, please don't worry, because you don't need to figure it out today.
And luckily we know what our future is going to hold because of the podcast. But to be honest with you, next week, well, I mean, the week that I go back, I kind of have a plan for this week. But I don't have everything planned out. I try to like find a balance. Yeah. Because you need structure in your schedule for sure. But I'm trying to find the balance because like right now I'm still young. And so if I want to go do something a little spontaneous, I try to do it once in a while just to like feel young, to make the memory, and then get right back to the schedule.
Yeah.
So like if you are still working on it and you guys need to make a schedule, start off with like a very basic one. Like, okay, I'm going to, like if you're working, okay, well, I'm going to work, of course, and then I'm going to do this and this. Choose like one or two things to set into your schedule to get you used to it, and then go from there. That's what I recommend, because I used to be really bad with scheduling stuff. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And just remember, you're still young. Do what makes you happy.
Right. And if your schedule needs fixing, there's nothing wrong with adjusting your schedule.
Yeah. One thing, I got called indecisive a lot growing up.
I feel that.
From like 16 and up, it was like, oh, you're doing something new each week. You're doing something new each week. And I remember I was, one of my buddies came up to visit me, Tyler, shout out. And we were driving in the car. We were about to go fishing. It was a couple of years ago, I think. And he's like, dude, it's like everything you do, you're so good at. And then like you stop doing it, but not because like you got impatient or mad or anything. It's because it didn't make you happy and you wanted to move on to something else. And I'm like, you were the first person to ever tell me that. All I've ever believed growing up was that I couldn't make up my mind and that I was indecisive and impatient, because that's all I was ever told.
Right.
And so I was like, you know what? Big ups to you, man. Appreciate that. And then ever since, I've preached like the power of being happy with where you are.
And that's huge. When I first graduated high school, I took a gap year. And that gap year really put into perspective how linear people think life has to be. Because I was hanging out with some friends, and I remember the first question, because there was this girl that was there because we were just eating some food over at B-Dubs. And there was a girl that was there that I hadn't seen in a while. And her very first question is, where are you going to college? And I was just like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm going to enlist because that was my plan at the time. And she was just like shocked. Yeah. It's like there's such a bad stigma to, I'm not going to college. Yeah. And so if you guys are out there and you're wondering, take some time off because it is so much more cost effective, personally beneficial. If you wait, you decide what you want to do, not what people want you to do. Yeah. And you make your own plan to it. For some people, I know people that have literally waited to go to college 10 to 15 years just so they could pay for it in cash and not take out a loan. Right. And if that suits you better, then do that. Don't let people tell you what is best for you.
I know I've always been not anti-college, but it's one of those things where if you don't know what you're going for, don't go because it's not going to be beneficial for you 100%. Necessarily. And I remember Caleb was talking to me prior to going to college or prior to signing up to go, and he was like, yo, can we talk about this? And I'm like, please talk to somebody else first because I'm just going to tell you not to go. And so then obviously you spoke to somebody else. I think it was your parents.
And I was to a bunch of people. I was just collecting as many perspectives as I could.
Yeah. But see, something like that. So this is an example where I support it because it's going like being a pilot. You need the schooling. You need that certificate. You need that license to become a pilot. You can't do it without college.
And when the podcast is huge, I'll be able to fly us. We don't need to like... You have a private pilot.
Yeah. We'll just have Caleb. So yeah, that'll be great. Alrighty. Going into the next question, it's more of a challenge. So one of these challenge ones. Spend a day doing things more slowly. Then write about your experience and any changes to your mood that you noticed. So this is not feeling rushed. This is understanding that there's enough time in the day for you to do everything you need. So try doing a full day of things more slowly.
Yeah, because how many days have you felt like, I did not have time to do this. And it's because you have been rushing around when you if you just take a deep breath, you get a lot farther. It's the turtle in the hare, tortoise in the hare. Yeah. Whatever.
I'd be curious to try that one. Spending a whole day doing things more slowly.
Because everything does feel so fast. I've had many conversations about that. It's just like if you look... I was watching the show. It's called Life Below Zero. Okay. And it's people who live like right around the Arctic Circle. Okay. And if you look at how like their schedules are, they're so like, well, if I get food today or tomorrow or maybe 3 days from now, like we'll be good. Right. And now it's like, I need to go to the grocery store. I got 10 minutes in and out, you know? Yeah. So it's like just so different, the perspectives of, you know, when you get food, let alone everything else. It does help to slow down a lot.
Yeah. All right. Moving to the next one. Think of something that scares you, and then consider a reason why you don't need to be scared of it.
Okay. Something that scares me is, I mean, I feel like it's always going to be somewhere in here, but it's just our podcast not working out just because it's something I'm so passionate about. Right. But it doesn't scare me because I have one of the, this is going to sound really corny, but one of the best partners to have with the podcast. And Thanks, so man. I know when I'm dragging my feet, I'll get a kick in the butt and vice versa. Yeah. And it's just a great dynamic. We've been going at it for almost a year now, and there's no slowing down in sight. We only plan on expanding everything that we're doing, and that just pushes all the side notes away. That's like, yo, maybe this won't work. Maybe you're in too deep. Maybe you're screwed up. Maybe you should stop, or maybe it will just stop on you. You know, so. All that gets pushed away every time that we sit down and record, every time that we plan stuff out, every time we execute our plans, every time we just sit down and talk about it. So, yeah. That's all I have to say about that. Yeah. How about you?
Something that scares me is just not moving forward, regardless of what situation it is. So whether it's my health, finances, pleasures, hobbies, stuff like that, where I feel like one day it's just gonna come to like a wall and I'm gonna be unable to participate in any of those things. But another reason why I shouldn't be scared is because the fear of it is causing a halt to it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And so it's like, why be scared of it? Because all it is making the fear come to life.
Right.
And so I think that's a big issue with a lot of things nowadays, is us trying to avoid the fear of the situation is causing our fear to come true over we're not able to enjoy the situation.
It's kind of, we talked about on a way early episode about like overbearing thoughts and how they become reality because you give them the satisfaction that's needed to be existed. Yep. If that made any grammatically sense.
I heard a lot of needs.
Yeah, I kind of messed that up a little bit, but I was trying to like flow with it. But yeah, no, you give that stuff validation by thinking about it. Yeah. That alone is breeding this fear. Yeah. And so when you can kind of like wake up and notice that, it definitely doesn't go away all the way, but it's so much smaller.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, moving into the next one. What is one healthy habit you could maintain each day that would have a positive effect on your life?
Self-affirmations.
Yeah. I think personally my biggest one that I've realized over the last couple of years, sleep. Getting a full 8 hours and a proper 8 hours. Can we hear that
one more time?
Sleep. 8 hours. So getting a proper 8 hours, so that means like 10 to 6, 11 to 7, midnight to 8. You know, it's like I think all three of those are reasonable, or like 9 to 5, right? Yeah. So all of those are reasonable times, not like 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. Right. You know, because that's like
unless your work schedule forces you to do that.
Yeah, obviously. But if you're falling outside of those areas, you risk giving up on your social life or not waking up at a valid time to have enough energy for the day.
And at a physical health level, there's actually a reason that we sleep at night. And when you don't sleep at night, I don't want to use any specific terms. Yeah. Like if I say it wrong, I'm gonna sound pretty dumb. But there's like, I don't remember if it's like a chemical or what specifically, but there's a reason that we sleep at night. It's because there's no light, and because of artificial light, people are staying up later and later. And so when you sleep during the day, it's actually not as restful as when you actually sleep during the night. And so that's why like night shifts are like so unhealthy for you physically. Yeah. And yeah, you can still be sleeping 8 hours a day, but it's just not the right same benefits.
Yeah. All right, moving to the next one. People say laughter is the best medicine. What is something that always makes you laugh?
Practical Jokers.
Yeah.
Honestly, that never fails. I'll watch it and I'll be in a cranky mood sometimes, and I'll be like laughing by the end and forget that I'm even like annoyed about something. Yeah. It's truly amazing.
Yeah, and Practical Jokers is incredible. I'm trying to think of like any funny like TikToks or Vines.
Oh, I can tell you his actually.
That will always make me laugh.
They're the most random TikToks possible. They always get him to laugh. Yeah. It's just like I can't.
There's no structure to them. They don't make any sense. It's just like
it's a montage of random internet clips and pictures and noises, and it's just it's a lot.
It's just because you never know what to expect, and like the next like pitch, you know, it's like boom, boom, boom.
I hate them, but I laugh when he laughs because I don't know how he finds it so funny.
Yeah, they're hilarious. Yeah, I'll try to find one and pull it up, but
you don't have to.
All right, moving into the final question of the series. Big deal. Think of something that has bothered you lately. Do you think it will still care about it in a month, a year, or why not?
Why not?
Okay. I know I kind of butchered that. Let me go again. Think of something that has bothered you lately. Do you think you will still care about it in a month or in a year? Why or why not?
Bothered me lately. There's like, okay, I'm not gonna lie. There's like quite a few things that I could answer for this. Like I'm trying to be as open as possible. Because I have lots of struggles, and
you don't have to name it. You can just think of something.
There definitely is something, and I don't think it'll be a big deal in a year, but I think it will be probably in a month, because problems don't just go away necessarily in a month. Yeah. But it's definitely something that I've been working on, and it's not that I don't like. I would love to tell you guys, but it's just kind of something that's personal, that involves like others, and I don't want to be like exposing people. Yeah, right. But I love being as open as possible on the podcast, just so you guys know, like, oh shoot, I've been through that. So if you're curious, I guess DM me.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to throw the name out on the podcast.
Yeah.
So
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
about
Me
you?
thinking of something that bothers me right now. Would it bother me in a month? I don't think it will. I don't think it'll bother me in a month. Like the biggest issue I have in my life isn't gonna bother in a month.
Wow.
Huh?
Said wow.
Yeah. So really not worried about it. I know. See, there's a difference between. I think what bothers me when it comes to issues is if I feel like I have no control over them.
Right.
And all of the issues right now, except for one of them, I have control over. So I'm able to work to become better to overcome that challenge.
Yeah.
In a year, no, same thing. Not going to be an issue.
Right.
But also the one challenge I don't have control over right now, in a month will be behind me, so it doesn't matter anyway.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so then a month from now I can kind of change up my game plan according to how it ended up working out, if that makes sense. It's basically it's just me moving out of here.
Yeah.
I have no clue where I'm going. And the market right now is doggy doo doo. So I'm not, I just have no clue
Real
where.
estate term only.
Yeah, I have no clue where I'm going after this. But I know I have to be out of here by the 14th.
Yeah. And are you trying to keep that perspective of like, wow, in a month, this will be over. Like I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
Does
that's
that
where
help at all?
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Is like, well, I have the somewhat control right now of where I can try to find a place to go, but I've been looking for forever. So if I can't find anywhere, like I know I've put in enough effort where I'm not going to be mad at myself if nothing works out.
Right. And I think another big part of like all of this is that like Tony Robbins said it, if you can look back in a year and laugh at the situation, like why not laugh now?
Yeah.
I swear there's some things that I say over and over again throughout the podcast. It's because repetition is key.
It is.
But yeah, just think about it like that. Like if this is a situation that seems like the end of the world, like I wish someone would have let me think about this in high school because so many things seem like such big deals in high school that are not.
Yeah.
And like looking back, it's kind of like when you're in high school and you hear about like an elementary schooler's problem, you're just like, psh, that's nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, why can't you have that perspective then? But seriously, just think about it. Like, are you going to be laughing about this? If not, then yeah, maybe it's a pretty serious situation.
Right.
But most of the time you'll find that you do laugh about a lot of, especially the smaller stuff. So just try to keep that in mind. Know that it will always pass. There's always going to be a brand new day for you.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a new opportunity somewhere. So just try to keep this all, right in the surface level while you're going through your struggle.
Yeah, definitely. So that pretty much concludes our 3-part series.
Ooh, longest series we've ever done.
To promote optimistic health.
Heck yeah.
An optimistic perspective. Anything else you want to add to this before we get out of here today?
Guys, this series was really fun. I don't think we've done anything like this before.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot. It made us, I mean, you got to watch us like on the spot, have to sit here and think.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. The camera cut off. We hit our max recording limit, which is just in half an hour.
Yeah. You'd think it'd be at least an hour, but I guess it is more photography camera.
Yeah. But we will see you guys later, and happy Monday.
Yep,
Make it a great week and implement all of these awesome optimistic tips we've given you.
Yep. Just remember, keep cycling these questions through. Thank you guys for tuning in. I enjoyed this a lot. I'm sure Gabe did. And yeah, make sure to answer those questions. Have a great week and happy Monday.
Happy Monday.